Just us.
Just us.
We don't celebrate Christmas, but we do celebrate Christmas victories. And yesterday, the Warriors were victorious over the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, and now above 500. So we'll take that as a Christmas present. Thank you.
Maybe even a Christmas miracle, given how the team's been playing lately.
We were there.
Yeah, it was a mostly good vibe. We
Except
had the
the two
misfortune
people-
of sitting next to two of the worst people possible.
Really incredibly just disrespectful energy coming from our right side.
We were talking about this yesterday, but the stuff they were doing was very normal for a crowded environment. Stuff like, shouting loudly and screaming and, talking to the players, which is fine if there's bunches of people doing it. If you're the only person doing it, you're probably annoying everyone around you.
Yeah, Christmas Day, there were a lot of families there, lots of kids. These two, maybe they were in their 20s, but testosterone-charged males who wanted to be the center of attention.
Oh, yeah, they wanted to be the main character of the Warriors versus Mavericks.
It was honestly quite juvenile. We'll just give you one example and then we'll move on. But basically, Max Christie from the Dallas Mavericks was shooting a free throw, and the guy yells at the top of his lungs, which, mind you, is right in my ear.
Yeah.
Christie is a girl's name.
Imagine
So-
having the kind of temerity to say something like that to a professional basketball player in the NBA who's earning millions and probably has more money than you will ever accumulate in your lifetime. And also, he cannot hear you.
Yeah, it was very antagonistic, which is why we found it so annoying. I had to get earplugs from guest services. Like, that's how bad it was. But we tried our best to enjoy the game.
Yeah.
We also paid for our ticket, so it's like we deserved to be there just as much as they did.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to get into an altercation on Christmas Day.
I think it was very telling that he kept saying these things that he thought was funny, and the only laugh he got was from an 8-year-old boy in front of us who giggled for a second, I think at something else. And the guy was like, "Lil man, thank you for laughing. Thank you, man, I appreciate it." And his brain didn't go, "No one's laughing at this, I should shut up." He just carried on with his weird friend who was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But it didn't stop us from winning.
But other than that, good vibes at
Mostly
the game.
good vibes, yeah.
The Warriors won 126 to 116. Their record is now 16-15, above 500. And it was the return of Klay again. It's the only time we'll see Klay at Chase Center this season. He got a lot of cheers.
He got a lot of cheers. Yeah, for sure. He definitely got a lot of cheers. He got a lot of cheers at the warm-up phase where he and Steph kind of met at mid-court while they were warming up and then exchanged pleasantries. That got a big cheer. And then when he came on, he got a big cheer. And then when he came on a second time, he got a big cheer. Unfortunately, he didn't do much in the game.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, after Klay was traded to the Mavericks, Luka Doncic was then traded to the Lakers. So Klay's not playing with the guy that he thought he could pair with to win a championship. And Klay's coming off the bench now. So he's not a starter. He's quite washed up.
And Kyrie got injured.
So
the two players that would have... And the season previously, the Mavericks went pretty far. So from an outside looking in and on paper, the Mavericks were a very, very good, safe bet to be running a deep playoff run. And when he got there, they pretty much all imploded. And so he's been left on the team as the kind of big superstar on the bench. The thing that they have going for them is Cooper Flag.
Yeah, Cooper Flag actually had a great game. He played 36 minutes, had 27 points, and was 13 of 21 in terms of field goals. So I thought he had a very productive game, but he was also -7. I don't understand how your highest scoring player on the team has a minus in the plus minus. Some guy Williams had 26 points. Max Christie had 13. Najee Marshall had 14. They had good production. And at certain points in the game, I got really nervous.
Oh, yeah, I was nervous throughout.
We had the lead, but it wasn't by a commanding margin. It kept slipping away.
Yeah.
Why do you think that was?
I think it wasn't... I think it genuinely was... The Warriors weren't playing at... They weren't being pushed to play at their complete best in desperation. I think whether they acknowledge it or not, or whether, it seemed that way or not, they didn't need to put in as much effort as they've had to previously. because of the team that they were playing, and it's not because they underestimated them. It's just the way the nature of the game unfolded. It wasn't like the Mavericks were doing anything to push the Warriors out of their comfort zone into a desperation zone where they need to react. They kind of just were playing not on autopilot, but at a comfortable clip.
What I observed was the Warriors were able to get up their 3-pointers. They were, to some degree,
Yeah.
they were doing a lot of lobs, like
Yes.
points in the paint, which I
Pods
thought was
to
effective.
TJD.
In the third and fourth quarter, what I noticed was that the Mavericks amped up their defense.
Yes.
So that's when some of those turnovers came up again. Those passes weren't as easy. The ball movement wasn't as easy.
Yeah.
And I noticed that the shot clock was kind of going down to like 3 seconds, 2 seconds. We were taking a lot of last minute shots that weren't high quality.
Yeah, a lot of Jimmy catch the grenade moments.
Oh, poor Jimmy. I feel like they give Jimmy the ball when they don't know what to do,
Yeah.
and he's just liable for taking the worst shot ever. And he makes a lot of those.
Yeah, to be fair,
But-
he also he wants to be given the ball. I
In those
imagine
moments.
he's like, can we not do it every single time? But as I was like saying, I think the Warriors they were playing better of the two teams consistently.
Well, what do you think? Do you think Anthony Davis exiting in the second quarter?
I think that was a big deal, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, do you think the game would have been different had he stayed?
I don't think it would have been drastically different. I think it would have played out in the same way because Draymond was there, and Draymond is very, very, very familiar with playing Anthony Davis. I think even confident and comfortable based on Lakers matchups.
Yeah, he played 11 minutes and
Hurt his groin.
Yeah, groin spasms, I guess. That sounds
I don't
very
know why.
painful. But Anthony Davis is very injury prone. So,
Yeah, massively.
yeah, and I was hoping he would play because that would have made it more competitive, but
It was still, like I said, it wasn't. There was no point where I thought, oh, they're just playing better than us. But throughout, I was worried that we would somehow give it up, either in the third or fourth quarter. And although they came close, for the most part, it was comfortable. As long as we kept making. The thing that was giving me some solace was every time they scored, we would retort with our own buckets. And that, as long as that kept happening, I think I was mostly confident we'd win. The previous games where it looked like we were slipping away, it was their defense or our poor shooting gives a turnover, which they score on, and then we don't have anything to make up for it.
exactly.
That's where it falls apart. But this time we had plenty. Steph wasn't shooting well threes, but he shot a few good ones, but then he kept going to the paint, and they were playing like they played last game, where it seemed like they'd figured something out. I think the most electric player of the game was Will Richard.
Oh, really?
Who I personally enjoyed
Interesting.
watching playing.
Okay.
He wasn't. There were multiple other players who played really well, but I think for him, he was the guy where when he got the ball and put it up, it was going in, and when it did go in, it was really exciting.
Well, I'd like to talk about one player who made his return in this game.
Old
And
man Al.
we'd like to somewhat apologize.
I'm not apologizing.
Okay, he's not
yet.
apologizing. So, Al Horford, the senior citizen on our team, who came to us from the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
He has not played a lot due to his, I think it's sciatica. He made his return in the game yesterday, and he couldn't miss.
He was
He
popping off.
He was 4 of 6 from 3. I mean, basically back-to-back threes. He had the
Yeah.
hot hand. Did he play? It was in the first quarter, I think.
First quarter, yeah.
Yeah. So he played a
He didn't
total
play
of just
much in the second
He played
half.
11 minutes and had
Yeah.
14 points. So really great production. I think he averages like 10 points on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was impressed by his play, just the catch and shoot. I think we could go to him maybe a bit more, but the rotations, okay, we have to talk about the rotations.
It's locked in
They've
nowadays.
tightened up, okay? Buddy Hield, Pat Spencer, Jonathan Kuminga, and Guy Santos were DNP'd.
Yeah.
So they didn't get any play time in the game yesterday. So the rotation is the rotation now.
For now,
where
yeah.
Moody-
Unless something changed and something needs to be changed.
Moody and QP are locked in as the starters other than Draymond, Steph, and Jimmy.
Mhm.
Okay, I can see that being consistent
Yeah.
because Steve Kerr has raved about QP, his presence as a center,
Yeah,
how
his
his
defense
defense
is
has picked
much
up.
better. His 3-point has fallen off a cliff, though.
It has, but I think he still has that in his arsenal,
Yeah.
which makes him a
He's just a slump.
multifaceted center, which is needed in this day and age in the NBA.
And also, they like the double big approach now, which they have multiple. Now that Al is kind of back, they have multiple options for. They can do QP and TJD. They can do QP and Al or TJD and Al, that kind of stuff. The reason I'm not quite ready to apologize is because I don't want to say it's a, I don't know what the basketball equivalent of beginner's luck is, but I don't think it's that. But you know, when you come off after like a break or an injury, you have that one game at least where you're like, oh shit, they're back.
He was so well rested
Yeah, that's what I
that he
said.
did a great
I
job,
like tweet or I posted about it online. I was just like, wow, looks like he's playing like he's been chilling for 2.5 weeks.
which he
And he
was.
definitely was. So I think I will be. I am not above apologizing. I 100% would love to apologize. I think I'll apologize after his third appearance, where if he can put on a good performance, then I'll be like, all right,
Fair enough.
that's the Al Horford that we wanted. But he was amazing. Like I said, I was not. Every time he scored, my eyebrows were raised, because you don't expect him to. He thinks he's a 3-point shooter, but you expect him on this team to be blocking shots or rebounding or something like that.
He
So,
wasn't that dynamic.
no, he
was just focused on
open
shooting.
and shot. That
I
was
feel
it.
like the defense forgot about him.
Which is weird for like a 7-foot
Huge
dude
guy.
or whatever. But
Yeah, they kind of left him open. I think they were just forcing him to shoot.
yeah, I think people like just sacked him off a bit and were like, he's not going to shoot. He's not a shooter. He's a big center or whatever. And he just shot it and it was great. I'd love to see him carry on doing that. He's filling the role that QP would have done in previous seasons. But yeah, he was the best player, but I still think Will Richard was electric because Will Richard has that kind of on the come up momentum behind him. And every time he shot and it went in, it looks good, it feels good, and you can see the before that puts him into that position. Usually he's cutting to put himself in a position, or it's like a cross-court pass from Draymond or Steph to him, and he's doing a sidestep 3 or something like that. So he's enjoyable to watch as well as a dynamic player.
Definitely. And I think we have to clear up some things about Draymond because during our last episode, we said, Draymond left the game likely due to an injury. It actually wasn't an injury in the previous game. It was let's call it a disagreement or an argument between
Warriors and Warriors violence.
Draymond and the head coach, Steve Kerr.
Yeah. So there's a lot of
there's some drama.
Vagaries and drama. Right? It is drama. The long and short of it is Steve Kerr and Draymond got into a very, very obvious, loud argument shouting at each other, which sounds bad, but it's happened many times before in their career. They've been through thick and thin together. So by their own characterization of it, it's not a big deal. It happens.
They apologize to each other later.
And Draymond characterized his own decision to leave as a growth moment for him, which I'm willing to believe. Like, he's clearly spinning it to a degree, but I also, when he explained it, I was like, yeah, that's kind of true. Like, in a previous, years, Draymond would have stuck it out and carried on screaming and maybe like kicked some chairs around or something like that. But he says that he saw it wasn't going to get any better, so he chose to leave the game to avoid escalating any further, which is actually pretty smart of him to do. I think Moody stood up at one point and was like in front of him saying just chill, that kind of stuff. Everyone else was kind of just like having fun. Jimmy Butler was quoted as saying he enjoyed it. It kind of turned him on because he's a weird little freak about competitive spirit, which makes a lot of sense. Draymond played yesterday, played well. I think the argument came from what felt to Steve like a changing of tides, where Draymond started turning the ball over, and I think that pissed him off, and it seemed to him like the team was starting to lose focus on what they were doing, so he called a timeout, and I imagine Draymond's ego made it feel like he was the sole cause of that.
Draymond took it personally.
Yeah, he took it personally, which says more about Draymond than what Steve intended. But obviously it was called because he did make those turnovers and Steve wanted to do something about it. But Draymond took it all on himself. which
'cause
is
he's a
the kind of thing.
leader.
That
He's
a
a
leader of the
leader, you
team,
know?
yeah. But he didn't deal with it that well. But at the same time, was like, all right, I'm not going to start this fight. I'm going to leave.
Yeah, and
left.
he left, but the good thing is he came back, right? After he
Yeah.
cooled down, back in the locker room, he came back out and he was a great teammate, He was amping his guys up
Yeah, he was on the
and
bench.
he was on the bench. The Warriors won that game
Yeah,
without him.
the player said they went to him at timeouts and that kind of stuff to ask for advice, and he was giving them advice. And Steve said that he wasn't going back in that game because he left, and once he was out, he wasn't going back in. But Draymond said that he left because he knew the team was in a good spot to play without him, which is really interesting. Like, I was listening to the Warriors Plus Minus yesterday, catching up, and Marcus Thompson was talking about how a lot of people are interpreting that as, oh, Draymond is now expendable. They can do it without him. Whereas Marcus is thinking of it as, no, they now have learned that they have another option. They don't need to rely on Draymond entirely. They can rest him now and then. They can take the pressure off of him, which is sure to be beneficial going forward, which I think is a way more optimistic way to look at it.
And emotions have definitely spilled over this season for Draymond because he was relied on as playing the center position. He's playing the 5. He's playing, he's defending against players who are 40 pounds heavier than him.
Yeah, he's getting pushed
around.
Which is
difficult. He's getting pushed around. He's older now. He can't sustain that. So I think he also wants to show that, there needs to be a change that's made.
Yeah, and also I think he wants to be in a position where he's not set up to look like he's washed. Because in those situations, he's still putting up a fight. He is still a fantastic defender. His IQ is out of this world. But there's only so much you can do perception-wise when you're up against people who are much bigger than you. Like,
the Warriors do need him. They need him.
Yeah.
He's a very strategic, high IQ player, and he can defend the 5. I think he more naturally fits at the 4 position, but...
And in those positions, he has to put in extra effort to contend with people who are heavier than him. And the line between putting in extra effort and slipping into a foul is very, very, very thin in that scenario. So I imagine he's probably thinking, yeah, I keep fouling, but it's because it's really hard to judge kind of like, how much you're supposed to put into someone who's considerably heavier than me or has more power than me, but he's still doing it.
He also does have the ball a lot in his hands. He's the point forward, right? He's playing point guard during a lot of the possessions, directing traffic. That's where a lot of his turnovers are coming from.
Yeah.
Do I think they're acceptable? No. I think that he does need to clean up a bit of that in order to gain back some of that respect and ball handling responsibility. But let's wrap it up. Let's talk about our boobies and butthole for the Christmas Day game.
The butthole was those 2 knobheads next to us.
I agree.
100%. Just please be aware of yourselves. It's good to enjoy sporting events or music events, whatever, loud events. But just be aware of the vibe. Read the room. Be better at reading. That's something that I will say that Americans aren't great at. Reading the room in public settings. Everyone's got main character syndrome in this society, whereas in British society, everyone is terrified that someone might look at them and perceive them. British people just don't want to be perceived. And I think Americans could learn from that. Just chill. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm trying to. I'm saying that.
I know. I'm trying to minimize myself right now.
You're fine. You never do anything like that.
No, I don't. I try
but
not
yesterday was like the most annoyed I've seen you in a long time.
Oh, I was so annoyed.
You're seething.
I was seething. I actually after
you were like, let's go. And
after the first quarter ended, I was like, Tam, let's go. I don't want to be in this energy. I'm not enjoying the game. But we stuck it out.
I knew
he bought me ice cream.
I knew that if I got you an ice cream, it would diffuse you because then you would be eating an itsit for
I did. I had my earplugs and my ice cream. I was good for the rest of the game.
That's why I went. I knew immediately halftime I have to get ice cream, otherwise she's either gonna punch that dude or.
And I woulda, but it was Christmas. Okay.
Yeah. Ho 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 punch. Yeah. So that's the booby. I think the butthole. Sorry, the boobies are definitely Al Horford being back and playing well. And a Christmas W.
Yes, and we already talked about the butthole, so I'll go with the boobies. My favorite play was Cooper Flag going up for a dunk and GP2 just completely knocked it out of his hands from behind.
Two hands.
It was the best block I've seen this season.
2 hands. It was like someone pushing another person under the water in the sea to drown him. That's
yes.
what it looked
like. That's a great analogy.
Yeah,
I like
that. His head was no longer. It was brutal.
He annihilated him. It was incredible.
I took a freeze frame of it, and Cooper Flag's face, he looked like SGA. He looked like SGA foul baiting, but real. He's getting the business.
It was crazy. I loved it. I loved GP2's energy.
OKC lost again, by the way.
To the
For the
Spurs.
for the fellow SGA haters out there.
Yeah. We talk
I'm-
about
I am an
why do we
absolute-
talk about SGA a lot?
I'm a hater of his.
We're haters.
Yeah, he's not. I think people have started to call it unethical basketball, and I 100% agree.
1000% agree.
That man is wavy tube man, fucking just falling over non-stop. Meanwhile, Steph is getting physically abused by every player and is just playing through
There were
it.
so many fouls they didn't call again.
Yesterday. It was crazy. And the guy next to us, again, the annoying guy, was shouting in full sentences about how he doesn't get a superstar whistle, which I appreciated pointing it out, but you don't need to shout it, and literally a paragraph worth of shouting.
I know. And then he was like, okay, so I didn't realize referees wear jersey numbers too. He was calling out the numbers of the
He was like,
referees
number 3,
and talking
number
to them
3,
directly.
You need to go and do this. It's like, brother, that man cannot hear
We
you.
sit upper level. There's absolutely no way they can hear you.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
It's not. We sit close, but not close enough for the sound to travel all that way. And also, they don't give a shit about what you think. You're just a random scrub in the fucking
Yeah.
stands. Shut up.
Anyways,
He also had terrible tattoos. I hope he has the worst week of his life.
I agree. Yeah. Anyway, the Warriors will be playing again on Sunday. They're going to be on the road for a few games. They're going to be playing the Toronto Raptors on Sunday.
They should be rested, though.
That game, weirdly, I don't know what they're doing with the schedule, but since it's on the East Coast, the game starts at 12:30 Pacific time. So if you're, trying to tune into the game, watch it at 12:30. It's an early start, hopefully. And okay, so 12:30 our time. Like, I don't think the Warriors have ever played that early. It's basically 9:30 a.m. for them.
Well, if Steph's post-game interview yesterday was any indication, he's probably into that. He loved it because he was like, "Oh, I really like the time," or
So you
interesting.
can spend time with family.
Yeah, because he was like, "I'm
after
going
on
home.
Christmas,
I'm
yeah.
gonna drink my plug whiskey, and then I
Bourbon.
will be or whatever it is, poison."
Gentleman's cut.
Yeah, that's the one. And then he was like, "I'm gonna watch my kids play." I was like,
Yeah.
He's probably loving it. He's like, "I'm gonna go to Toronto. I'm gonna."
Isn't Aisha from Toronto?
I don't know.
I think.
I have no idea.
Anyway, I think he lived there for quite some time when his dad played as a kid. So anyway, we'll tune into that and we'll see you then. Thanks for listening. Just Us on 3. 1, 2, 3. Just
Just us.
us.